Well, that was exciting. I hit it just as it clicked to 11 a.m. and nothing happened. Just spun, going live, going live. Yeah, Jeopardy theme. Exactly. Well, haircut. Colombian hat. So I hope you all had a good Christmas. Happy holidays. Almost Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and Festivus and whatever. I had a nice, relaxing, chill Christmas, pretty much like every day. And today, I have to warn you that most of the talk is going to be about the channel being and closing out on 2019. I put out a message asking people their opinion on should I even continue, what comments you have. And I'm not going to go over all that today, but I do want to talk about the channel and why I was reconsidering doing these videos. And then I want to talk about the plan for 2020, this upcoming year. I don't think that's all going to take all that much time. I'm thinking maybe 15 or 20 minutes. We'll get to any questions that you have and get on with football. Go Bills. Okay, so why did I reconsider? I don't obsess over stats, and I wasn't, every day or every week looking at the stats of the channel. But when you're coming to the end of the year and you're coming to the end of your video season, going into season 9, I'm going to take a look at it. The first thing that jumped out was I already knew was at the beginning of this year, I had set a goal to try to achieve 10,000 subscribers. Now, subscribers in and of themselves don't mean a lot, but the way YouTube operates, you have different levels when you have a YouTube account. And at different levels, certain things open up to you, certain abilities, certain features. And I've opened everything up except the last tier, which was when you hit 10,000. And so it's not critical. It's not the end of the world. But I thought, well, the way channels grow, I've been doing this for, well, actual subscribers for the entire year amounted to about 650, less than the year before. So that was kind of a shock to see. It's like, what's going on? Does this motorcycle, is this channel even, is even viable? Is it doing any good? Is there any point in doing this channel? And I also looked and, as I'm looking at the subscribers, and I noticed that over 63% of the regular viewers are actually not subscribed. Now, that certainly wouldn't make up 10,000, but if you're not subscribed, you may want to subscribe. I don't know. I don't like subscribing to a lot of channels either, but I was looking at what do I subscribe to, and I grudgingly have clicked on about 40 some channels. So I guess, I do subscribe. And the only reason I've done that with those channels is because if I don't click the notification, they get buried these days. I may never see them again. And, I subscribe to them because, while I don't watch every video that comes out on every channel, but there are people that have various topics of interest to me, whether it's, cars or politics or music. So you have to subscribe and hit the bell. Now, another thing that I noticed was my top 5 all-time viewed videos, all 5 are below 2019. 2018, some 2017, mostly 2018. 2018 was a pretty good growth year for the channel. The first video that shows up in the top list for 2019 is number 19 or number 13 on that list. It's quite a ways down, and then there's another gap between that and the next one. Now, something I think is kind of interesting. What's the most requested video? Well, it's a toss-up between dating information and healthcare. Healthcare. I'm always asked, when are you going to do a video on healthcare? When are you going to do a video on healthcare? I did one actually going through a clinic, just kind of showing an experience. And I did another one that was pretty specific. I spent quite a bit of time. I actually copied websites from various health providers with information, provided the information of those websites where people could go and look for themselves. And so I put that video together. And as of yesterday, when I looked at this, that video only has 521 viewers. You know, I just kind of, I think maybe they get lost in the shuffle. And YouTube, I think, has a lot to do with that. I'll talk about that. But my views overall per video is down about 21%. So, you know, the responses I got from people, I got a lot of responses. I got them by email. I got a message. I got them posted on videos. I got them on the Patreon account. I've got a message there. I've got a bunch of responses, and they were almost entirely positive. There were a couple that just reading them convinced me I'm going to just keep doing these videos, if nothing else, for those few people. They were kind of touching, and and I'm not going to sit here and shed a tear, but they were really heartfelt videos about what some of the information has meant and how it impacted them in their lives. And okay, well, what am I doing? I'm not doing this to gather subscribers or to make some big grand channel. As a matter of fact, I've got a rather subdued goal financially of hitting about $4,000 or $400 a month, which is not a lot considering the amount of work that goes into it. It's not a lot, but that's what I need for the the travel and for equipment, to maintain it. So I don't have these lofty goals or desire to be some big huge thing. As a matter of fact, if it got too big, it would become cumbersome and really start to interfere in the life that I have, which is pretty damn good right now. But the feedback, and you can't help but think about the supporters of this channel, the people that have contributed to this channel, the people that have helped me when the camera died, the people that stepped up and helped me replace that when I, for a period of time, I actually had no camera. So do I really want to stop and turn my back? I mean, it was important enough for them to help me along. So, the obvious conclusion is, no, I'm going to keep doing these. I was concerned, but when I'm reading those stats, saying nobody wants to see yourself go backwards, and it's like, am I doing this for nothing? Am I putting all this time in when I could be out, having fun, and have it for no purpose? And I've learned that there's definitely purpose. It does take a lot of work. For example, please look at this video coming up January 1st. It's the video when I went to the coffee park, and Justin sponsored that visit to the coffee park. Not counting the time actually there filming it, but simply sitting behind this laptop and editing, I put in just over 27 hours work on that one video. It's just not unusual at my skill level, which is not very good, to put in a lot of time. The dating video, the one that some of us watched here live, and I took it down and I managed to save it, but it's a long story. Don't want to waste time on that. But I saved that video. I've been editing it so that I can use that video. I've put in over 40 hours on that video, but I've taken it from an hour and a half. It was 1 hour 39 minutes, and it's down to 1 hour and I think 4 minutes. Now, most of that I had to cut out with it's horrendous how many times I say I don't know. It's just a bad habit. So, you know, thinking of all the work and time that I put into it, and thinking that, you know, it's going backwards, maybe people just don't want to watch any of the information that I put up anymore. You know, so that's why I had to go through this thought about reevaluating. You know, I just want it to be useful and not a waste of time. So for 2020, what's going on there? Well, on the 1st will be this. Yeah, stop doing it. Will be the beginning of season 9, the video 1, and that's going to be the coffee park video. I'm proud of it. I enjoyed watching it myself, and that's usually not the case. I think you'll like it. I think you'll find it interesting. The coffee park is a fascinating place. You'll look at it. You know, I've jokingly said it's like Disneyland. It's probably more like Six Flags than Disneyland. But it's changed so much since I was, as you would expect, 17, 18 years ago. I've been there a couple times, and it changed so much. Most of it for the better. A few things not so much for the better. It's lost a little bit of flavor that it used to have, and it's become more of an amusement park. But you know, it's, if you're a kid especially, it's a lot of fun. I went on a few of the rides with Juliana, they say, Juli. I went on a few of the rides with her, but for the most part, you know, I'm trying to take videos, and so I sent her on the rides, and I took some videos of her on the ride. So that's why you'll see, like on the roller coaster, you see me videoing on the roller coaster. That camera works really good, and you'll see that pretty smooth for a roller coaster. And believe me, I was getting slammed around a lot on that thing. But on a few other things, you'll see that she went on, you know, by herself. So I'm happy with that video. I'm proud of it. I think the 27 some hours I put into it, I think were worthwhile. It did take me some time to get it going, but I figure it's a good place to start the year. I'm also thinking about doing this. Videos, you know, I've been doing this 4 years. I've got 420 some videos. A couple hundred were in Ecuador. But even when I was back then in Ecuador, I was coming here. I was thinking about going back, and, you know, on YouTube, you see these reaction videos. You know, it's like reaction. I've heard Fool on the Hill by the Beatles for the very first time in my life. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen those, but reaction videos are a popular thing. But I thought it would actually be interesting to share some older videos with you, so I could play snippets from those videos and then update them, or just react, maybe even make fun of myself. But mostly, you know, I'm thinking about doing updates that way, so I can show what it was 3 years ago, and here's how I view it today, or here's how it's changed. So I'm thinking about, because I have so many videos, about doing, you know, maybe one a week or one a month or something, you know, through the year. Not sure, still thinking about that. I'm sure some of you will give me some advice on that. I definitely want to update the visa and the healthcare video. I think there's been a lot of confusion on the healthcare video. I played it back several times, and I don't get it, but I've had a number of people, I say a number, I think 5, have asked me about that video and said, Well, if you're over 62 and you're no longer eligible for the EPS SURA insurance, what do you do for insurance? And I never said that. The EPS is the public version where it doesn't matter how old you are and there's no pre-existing conditions, you're always eligible for that. And that's the 37 approximately dollars a month health insurance. The health insurance is easy, it's cheap, and it's world class, world leading, ranks higher than the US and Britain. So, at least by the World Health Organization, for whatever that means. Has some of the finest hospitals in the world in Colombia. But apparently some of that got lost because there were people that were confused about it. And I get it. And it's one of my promises to myself I'm going to work on for 2020 is to try to be more concise, try to maybe speak a little faster and be a little clearer in these videos. I tend to ramble. It's just my natural state. I'm going to try to stop saying so much, but I want to redo the healthcare and visa and any other important topic for people to try to make them a little clearer, a little more concise, maybe try to squeeze them down to 6, 7, 8 minutes. These live videos, I was all over the place on comments on these. As far as the live video itself goes, every comment I got was positive. They like it, they want to see it go forward. But I did get comments such as, why don't you do it once a month? Why don't you do it every couple of weeks? Why don't you just do it for question and answer? Why don't, some various comments on that. So I'm still going to do them every Sunday, but I will consider those comments as I go forward. I'm thinking about possibly a new format, new schedule, and I'm just not sure. And yes, I get that people in general are more visual. And one of the things that was brought up is, can we do less of these talking head videos except for live, and for the other videos put more background in them? Well, actually, if you go back over 2019, you will see that my talking head videos are greatly reduced by percentage than they were prior, 2018, 2017, 2016. When I began these, it's all I did practically was the talking head videos. I just would choose a topic that would be important to moving, and I would just talk on that for 7, 8 minutes, and then do another video on a different topic. How do you pack your suitcase? Some very nuts and bolts thing. One comment I got was about the merchandise thing. Some of you know I posted up in a few places. What do you think about these? And there were samples of black t-shirts with the Grand Columbia logo, or black hoodies. It was a really nice backpack, coffee mugs with the logo. What do you think about this? The reason I was considering it is a software that I'm not using right now. There's a subscription fee to it, and it's one of the reasons. They swear up and down they can get that delay out of it for me. So with that, I can show clips and things, for the visual. Like I was doing more and more of those in these coffee time lives because that gave me the ability. And with YouTube, I can't. YouTube, this is what I can do. So I would like to be able to do that, but I can't really, take on the subscription cost just for that. It's just money out the door that, I really don't have. I'm not hitting that $400 a month mark as it is. And I really, want to get there because I've got plans. I've got videos that I need to do. So I was considering the merchandise because it actually gets requested a fair amount of times. I don't think a week goes by when somebody says, is there any way I can buy a coffee mug like you use for coffee time? Is there any way You know, one of your black t-shirts, I can get that with the logo. You should be selling merchandise. Well, I don't know. I don't want to deal with it. I can't really do it from here. But this software has a package with it that they actually will provide the merchant. You give them the design, which is what I did on that. Here, take a look at this. Tell me what you think. I just did some up, threw it out there, things that people might be interested in. They handle it. They drop ship. They make it. They drop ship it. They're very high quality. I looked at the brands and the type of, it's high quality. I think it's pricey, and I don't get a whole lot of money out of it. But if people bought 4 or 5 of those things in a month, it would pay for the subscription fee, and that would be a wash. Now, then I say, well, then they're contributing in that way, and maybe they won't contribute another way, and I'll be further away from my goal of $400 a month. So this isn't all about money, don't get me wrong, but it factors in. So I'm just telling you, here's how it works. Here's what's going on with me. This is what comes into play when I think about these things. And then I got this comment: why should your subscribers pay to advertise your channel? I didn't view it that way. Obviously, he took a burn over it. So I don't know what to say about that. I can't even answer that. I got another comment. Overall, he had a lot of things, and it was a good email and some good suggestions. But he did say this, and it's really got me thinking. It says, your channel has become boring. You're no longer Grand Colombia, but you're instead Lauren living in Armenia. Well, I get it. On the other hand, it's actually the way it's always been. It was Lauren living in Cuenca, then it was Lauren living in Giron, and then Lauren living in Cuenca, with trips going off to different places. It was, it's always been about the life that I'm living. It's never really been travel videos. Now, where's that list? Oh, I lost something here. This year, 2019, I visited Salento and Finlandia twice, did videos. I went to Ibagué, which is a pretty good place. I want to go back. Because some people were interested in that, and I think it's a very viable alternative for people to live. I did Quimbaya, Pijao, Buena Vista, Pareda, Circasia, Manizales a couple times more. I think it's total of, aside from when I lived there doing them, but on visits, 1, 2, I think 4 different videos about various visits there. So I've done a lot of travel, but for the most part, it's been me talking about my life and what you run into and how you do banking and things like that. I've also done this year. I did 2 big interviews. One was Bill. Bill, if you're watching, hello. I thought that was a really good interview. And another one, which this was a shocker to me, was the birding interview I did. A person named Nick here started a business a year ago. That video was really good. He was really well spoken. He had a lot of good information. He had a lot of good views, not touristy views, about his own country of Colombia. And the sad thing is, it's one of the least watched videos I've got. It's, as of today, it's 258 views on that video, and I think it's one of the better videos I've done. And I think anybody considering coming here, vacation, or living here would be high on the list. And it completely got lost, and that's a shame. And again, I've done healthcare. I did the clinic trip. I did visa, cost of living. I've done various holidays and events. I'm most of you remember the, the Halloween video. Talked about that. I've done shopping in the stores and restaurants and, current events, the riots that went on, talked a lot about what was going on in Ecuador. And the live dating, which I want to mention, it is edited now. I do have it tucked away, and on request, I can send you an invitation with an expiring link. That is now available. I'm not going to post it up to the public, but if you want to see it, send me off an email, and with that email, I can send you, if the email you send me an email with is not the email that you're going to be watching YouTube on, send me the whatever that email is, and that will connect you to the link. So your YouTube email, send that to me, and I can set you up with that dating video. So what else this year? I kind of lost in my papers here. Oh, okay. For 2020, first thing on my list is I'm going to go to Pereira and do it a little more justice. I've told you many times I don't like this. I live there. I just don't like it there. I don't like to go there. That's not to say other people wouldn't. There's quite a few gringos that live there. They have a nice life there. Like every city, there's some really nice areas to it. There's more in Pereira than there is in Armenia, certainly. I wouldn't say more than Manizales, but there's certainly more things going on in Pereira. So I'm going to go there and do one, maybe even two videos that will do it some justice. And that'll be sometime between now and the end of February. So that's definitely coming up. Goals that I have that, I'm working for, if I can put it together, I really want to go do videos in Barranquilla, Medellin. Well, I've been there. I wasn't doing videos back when I was there in Medellin. So I want to go and kind of put my take on it. I've seen plenty of videos about Medellin, and they're all the usual. People come in and they're on a visit and they've been there for 3-4 months. This is typically what you see, and they're all excited and they show you, all the same things. And I get it, I understand that, but there's always more to it. What's it like to actually live there and walk around there? And so I want to do that because I think people flock to Medellin like they flock to Cuenca, Ecuador. It's not that Medellin isn't a great city. It's a super city, but not enough is really talked about the extent of the pollution, the overcrowding, some of the issues with it. And then people get there and, it's, I don't know, maybe their only focus is on the women and, partying, but, that's everywhere. You can actually, there's better scenes than Medellin for that. I also want to go to Santa Marta. That's last on my list, but I would like to hit that up and do some video. And then Bucaramanga. I have never been there. I want to go there because I have a friend here in Armenia, and she tells me that it's the most beautiful place in all of Colombia. Now, I think she might be telling me that because they've got areas there, they're kind of like Hollywood, California. Very, very rich people. The climate's pretty nice. So I want to go there. So that's a 2020 plan. And then as I mentioned, my personal goal is try to speak faster with less ums and be a little more concise on informational videos. And where are we at? What time is it? Okay. 10 minutes longer than that. Oh yeah, we had a late start. Okay, questions. 4 question marks in the question. We'll do the question and answer, and then we'll all go and watch our football teams win or lose. But the Bills are in the playoffs. The Bills are in the playoffs. Okay, crime in Pereira versus Ibagué. This is a topic that, you know, it's always comes up, and it's nearly impossible to address accurately. If you're a victim of a crime, there's lots of crime. But you have people that live somewhere, like in Cuenca, for example, they say, oh, it's a perfectly safe city. I've never experienced anything. And these same people weren't even aware of the extent of the murders that took place on the year that came up. That, you know, I had that conversation. I mean, they're oblivious to what actually goes on. Their assumption was how perfectly safe it was, as compared to some others. Yeah, maybe. I mean, what are your chances of having a crime committed? Okay, Pereira, your chances are probably higher, but it depends on you. Where do you go? What are your actions like? Do you look like a know nothing tourist walking around in your short pants and sunglasses and designer backpack and, you know, in awe at everything and pulling out your iPhone 11? And I mean, are you playing the part of the guy who wants to be taken? You wouldn't do that in Detroit. You wouldn't do that, you know, in places around Chicago. You wouldn't do that in a lot of places around LA. So why would you do that in a city in another country? If you're reasonably careful, and I don't mean paranoid, but if you're reasonably careful and conduct yourself and be aware of your surroundings, there's a pretty good chance that you're not going to, you know, experience problems. But if you go into barrios that are known, if you go down to the hood, there's a good chance you're going to run into trouble. Now, can we say that about Baltimore? Can we say that about, yes, you can say that about cities. The key is these are cities you don't know. So make yourself a local friend before you start venturing off into things that, you know, aren't public areas. Before you start venturing off, make yourself a friend and get some good advice. And that's not hard to do. And then just, you know, handle yourself that way. I've walked into some places I probably shouldn't have because, you know, I tend to be an idiot. I've just my whole life, I just haven't had this fear factor thing. But it doesn't mean it's advisable. And I guess I've been very, very lucky. If something happened, I would only have myself to blame. But I would say, in general, Pereira is probably statistically maybe a little more dangerous than Ibagué, although Ibagué's got some pretty seedy areas. And I've got several Colombian friends that live in Ibagué and tell me there's certain areas they would not venture into for any reason. So there's going to be dangerous areas in every city. So just stay out of them. Don't go there. You do see a fair amount of poverty in Ibagué, more than you see in a lot of other places. I think it's because it's somewhat secluded, but it's a growing city. It's kind of exploding. It's very nice. It's got good climate. It's got great areas. And if you just conduct yourself reasonably well, I could see it as a good place to live. I would prefer to live in Ibagué over Pereira any day. Watape visit. Yeah, if I go to Medellin, then maybe I'll go there. But the thing is, what's there? I mean, you got these lakes, and mostly you've just got this big, interesting mountain that everybody takes pictures of. Even if you don't know what it is, if I could show you the picture, a lot of people would say, "Oh, I've seen that before." And so I would go there and kind of do the same thing because that's what's there. So if I go, I might just go out of my own personal curiosity, but I wouldn't go just to do a video. I think that's just been kind of done to death. And if I can't bring something different, then I don't know that I want to make a video just to rehash what's already been done. I wouldn't go to Detroit. Well, there's areas of Detroit that are very nice, and some of it's up and coming. Their economy is actually starting to get back on track, from what I understand. But yeah, there's you know, half of Detroit is a no-go zone. What's the video with low viewers? It's called what's it called? Birding. It's green with a hummingbird on the front. It goes back 3 or 4 months. The person I'm interviewing, his name is Nick. It's 15 minutes long. So if you just go to the channel and you click on videos and you look at uploads and you go, well, actually just go to the, I've got it broken up: Colombia, Ecuador, how to expat, and I've got one list that's called interviews. If you go there, that's not a real long list. If you go there, it's just a couple videos back and you'll find it. I thought it was an excellent video. I thought he did a great job. He also has a really good service. People are coming here to Armenia. They're watching these videos. I'm seeing a couple a week, and nobody's calling him, but he would be a really good source to go and see and do things. So I'm just really surprised. No, I mean, nothing sponsored. I don't get any kickbacks. It's just that I thought it was a really good interview, and it just kind of died on the vine. I'm just stunned. Okay, any other questions? Which of your video interviews do you like most, and how does that preference relate to number of views? Well, what I like and what I don't like has little to do with the views. Let me tell you how these views happen and why I don't put a lot of stock and get too depressed over this year's stats over last year. YouTube has changed the way it's doing business. What used to happen is, well, I've got some videos that have ones over 100,000 views. I've got a whole bunch of them that are in tens of thousands that are older videos. How did those happen? Well, what YouTube used to do is that if the first day was kind of busy, it would throw it up and actually promote that video. It says, oh, that looks like it, people are finding it interesting, and they would promote it. They also used to be pretty good at, if you're looking around South America and you're looking at videos for various places, then they would promote my video up into that. Well, they're not doing that anymore. What they've done is they've changed most of that. They do it occasionally, but it's such a small thing now, and I get stats on it so I can see it. Really, all they promote now is channels that are for big businesses. So if any news organization, CBS or whatever, they're going to promote those. All the big businesses are getting the promotions and little guys are not. So what happened is, where my natural progression should have been under the old way, 2018 and back, should have been actually up around 10,000 subscribers. It was an unrealistic goal. So how do I end up with 650 instead of, another 8,000? Well, I end up that way because they changed the game, and basically your videos are hidden. And so that's how the number of views is really being affected. It's not that viewers are doing anything wrong, but I would wager that videos like that birding interview, that most people that will see this will say, I never saw that. I never heard about that. You never got any notification. If you're not subscribed and you hit the notification, a video like that just you'll never know it existed. You would actually have to go to my channel and go down through the lists and review those videos. And not many people do that. Yeah, it's a good point. YouTube is the next version of Cablevision, all monetized. You're right. Their view changed, or if you want to be cynical, you could say, well, they always had this as a business model. I think it just changed. I think originally they had this idea, and it was kind of it was a groundswell, roots kind of thing, and it was really all for the little guy to have a voice and speak and do, like this. And you would, back in those days, you actually could get paid pretty decent. I would be, under the old rules, I'd be earning maybe a couple $1,000s a month now under the old rules. But they changed that. So each year I could see it actually go down and down and down. I could do twice as many views and make a quarter of the money, because what happened was they would sell advertising. Well, that advertising dollar just shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. And now if I watch one of my old videos, I see all these ads in there that didn't used to be there. So they flood you with advertising, and you can make it go away if you subscribe to their premium channel. But they flood you with this advertising, and the money for that doesn't even go to me, where before whoever did their channel would get a portion of that advertising, which you would think would be fair and normal. Well, it's not anymore. And they find every excuse in the world to actually cut you out completely. So you can't make money anymore off of YouTube unless somehow, some way, virally you just go huge and you're 100,000, a million subscribers. But for small players like me and pretty much everybody else that does videos down here, even if they're much bigger, they're really not making money off YouTube. Where the money comes from is things like the Patreon account or GoFundMe, contributions that way, direct contributions. Didn't used to be that way, but that's the way it is now. And you figure, great, I got into it, and just as I started growing to the point where I could make some serious money, the first rule change happened. And it's like, whoop. So I had, I think, 2 months of a taste of that old method, and that was with under 1,000 subscribers. And anyway, that's neither here nor there. Concentrate on boots on the ground, helping people move their introductions to YouTube. Helping people that come here. Actually, I like meeting up with people, but I don't know that I want to concentrate on helping them, because then what I have to do is I become for hire, which I can do, and I do it occasionally, but it could take, then I end up living their life. Now, to a certain extent, for example, there's somebody I know, he's moving to Manizales. I put him in touch with some people in Manizales. I wish he could afford to pay me to go there, to meet up with him, show him some things that are really cool about Manizales. But that's kind of a selfish thing, because I wish I could show him, but I can't afford to do it. So I wish he could pay me and do that. I didn't suggest it, but these are just thoughts that I have. What I do really enjoy are my Skype calls, and I get them, they come in spurts. And prior to the holidays, I was doing 2 or 3 a month, and I really like those. And everybody that I've done a Skype call with has given me really positive feedback about how useful and valuable it is. And in a lot of ways, those Skype calls eliminate some of the need to have me boots on the ground, hold them by the hand. So I am available to do that. I just don't want to grow that into something where that becomes a full-time job. I would rather focus, even though it's less paying, I would rather focus on doing these videos and living the life that I have. I don't want to give the life up that I have. If I want to go back to work, I can go back to the United States and knock down about $200,000 a year, solve all my problems. But it's more worth it for me to live here the way I'm living here than that money. That money, when in the scheme of things, means very little to me. I only need enough to keep things going, this hobby of this video. That's it. I don't even need money for my life anymore. I've got that. It's pretty sorted. I don't have a ton of extra money, but you know, I'm living the life that I want, and that's what's important to me. You know, 2/3 of the United States, they just did a poll. They said 2/3 of people in the United States in this poll said they're not happy, and I don't want to be part of that 2/3. I mean, life is simple here, and simplicity to me is happiness, is joy. And true happiness is more than just what's on the surface. It's that deeper contentment that you feel. You know, I mentioned I was offered an expense paid trip to go to the United States, and there would be, for about a week, and there would be some very useful things about that. You know, I could buy some things from Amazon, I could carry them back. It's tempting, and I haven't ruled it out. But one of the big factors is that, you know, say, oh, well, why not? You got time, jump on it. Is I don't want to miss 1 minute of the life that I have here. Maybe it's this. Maybe if I go there and I come back, I won't be here anymore. I know that's crazy. It's ridiculous, but I'm here now every day, living it, and I want to keep that going, and I don't want to break it up. You know, it's all I can do is to, you know, go out and visit these other towns and things. But you know, at least I'm, you know, I'm here in this country. I think some things affected me. I think when you know, when I lost my passport and I did my life on the run, uh, you know, I think it had an effect on me. I just don't want to cross that border. I'm good here. I'm happy here. Oh, that guy that asked about the interviews, I think my favorite interviews were probably the series of 5 of the couple that had spent a year searching for a home through Central and South America, had come to Colombia, went to Ecuador, spent a lot of time in Peru. And when they came, they didn't just go touristy. They would hit all of these towns, cities also, but all of the small towns, and not just pass through, but spend at least 2 or 3 days, get the know of it, get the feel of it. This was an in-depth search. And after all of this time, they were in Peru and decided, you know what? We were already where we want to be. And they moved back to Colombia, not far from where I am. I did an interview, 5 parts of that interview. And anybody considering, you know, moving to Central or South America, that should be like a must. That should be a mandatory, because they did it, they know, and it was just full of good information about that. Not biased, not skewed in any way, just their take on it. So it was pretty awesome. All right, what else we have? Oh, thank you. Thank you for very much for contribution. Appreciate it. Oh, Skype call, another one. Yeah. This commenter is Mr. Ludlow. We did a Skype call, and I found it really interesting. I actually enjoy meeting people on Skype. I never thought I would like that. And I share everything I can possibly think of. I don't hold anything back. And like I say, I get really good feedback. He's talking about, you know, doing another one. I look forward to it. So I get to make a little money, but they get to basically just get unfiltered, no matter what the topic is. And, you know, I share that. In videos, I have to filter myself on some things. I mean, I have to. These are public videos. I just have to do it. Yeah, do a follow-up. I've wanted to do a follow-up. I've contacted them a number of times, and they've been traveling a lot. They just went all over Europe, you know, Croatia, Armenia. I don't know where. I mean, I follow them on Facebook, and it seemed like every week they're in some new place. They had returned, but they've gone back to the United States a number of times. This is like their home base, but they're really, really active people. And I do want to catch them out there. The last time I talked to them, they were a little concerned about uh, being in the public eye now that they're actually settled down. They don't want anybody to know where they are. Of course, the video wouldn't show that. I mean, show us just talking in the living room or something. So, but I get that. I'm always protective of people's information. Uh, so yeah, I will do a follow up with them probably sometime in the next couple months. But it's getting time when we both can get together because I'm also pretty busy. Uh, oh, international living. Yeah, I'm not like international living. I tell what I really feel about it. Yeah, I do. I mean, that's one of the culprits that caused me to want to do these videos because of all the one-sided information. In order to sell a $2,000 seminar, you have to make the the thing that you're trying to sell look like it's heaven on earth. And there is no heaven on earth. Otherwise, we'd be living in heaven. I mean, every place has its issues. It's finding the place that most suits you, understanding what those issues are, and either finding ways to deal with those issues or finding another place. Cuenca is a good example of that. Cuenca is far from paradise, and it has so many issues. It's a beautiful place. And the couple years that I lived in Cuenca and the 3 years that I lived in Ecuador, uh, was very good. I wouldn't trade them, but it's not a place I want to, continue living because for me, the great didn't overcome the issues that I had with it. There were more issues. And, and I can come to a place like this and yeah, I've got some issues, but I've got so much more great. So you have to find what's right for you. You might want to have endless parties or something, and maybe you want a big city. I like a small city. There's plenty of parties that go on here. I mean, we've got a number of college campuses. Believe me, there's lots of partying, but that's not my life, and so I don't care. I'm not consumed with that. I had to laugh because somebody was telling me, well, I really want to go to Medellin because they have so many more nightclubs. Okay, here in Armenia, I don't know, there's probably 100 places, maybe more to go to. And in Medellin, he's right. You've got thousands of places. But in your life, are you really going to go to more than hundreds? I mean, I, but if that's the most important thing to you, I get it. Then yes, you should live in a place like that. Or maybe Manizales. Bills over Jets? Uh, Probably not. I have a hunch it's going to be like a preseason. They've got some injuries. They're going to try to get them healthy. On the other hand, they're going to start most of their starters, but I bet they don't stay in that long. So yeah, it's kind of a meaningless game, but it's I don't know. Bills fans since 1970s. I started watching them like hard. I think 78. I got into football late. Okay, that's it. Well, uh, I'm looking forward to some videos that I've got up here. Please watch that coffee park one. I think you're going to like it. It's already up. It's got a link. It will kick in on the first. It will be online with me. I will be there in the chat. So while you watch it, you can talk to me right then. I will be there for that video. I'm trying to put together a 2019 retrospective. I've been working on it the entire week, and I don't know if I'm going to get it done. It's a frustrating video, but I'd like to do it. Anything that I brought up about the React video to some of my older videos and updating, I'm really kind of thinking about that a lot. So if you have any thoughts on that, send me off. No, no ponytails. Sorry. What is the time allowed for a tourist visa? pretty much like anywhere, you get your first 3 months free, and those 90 days are good for a calendar year. So if you do 1 month now, 6 months you can do another month, and 3 months after that you can do another month. But then if you get the extended visa, that kicks in when it begins, and then expires after its time period, which I think is another 3 months. So plenty of tourist time. But visas, there's so many things that come and go. I don't, I avoid a lot of that because it's going to depend on so many things. What I suggest you do is actually look at the government websites, either the United States or the Colombian site. You can look up your particular circumstance, and it's all there. Happy New Year to you all also. I won't see you live until after the new year, but I look forward to chatting with you again. And that's the end. I'll see you later.